Let's bring in Kurt Sanger, who's an autos analyst at Deutsche Bank Securities. He joins us this morning from Tokyo. A good Friday to you, Kirk. Let's talk about these recall issues at Toyota. You're keeping your ratings still at a hold for Toyota stock.
Certainly, we're trying to keep track of what's going on with the situation. As it stands, if our scenarios play out, maybe the stock starts to look attractive here. But obviously, the market is concerned with what might come out of hearings out of the U.S.
Kurt, Bernie here, along with Susan. You're not concerned about basically the snowballing effect that this has had? I mean, it went from one model to another, 8, 9 models. The Prius is in a mass recall right now. We don't know at this point with 100% certainty whether it's floor mats or sticky gas pedals or whether it's a braking issue or electronic control systems. I mean, there are a lot of unknowns out there. If I don't absolutely positively have to replace my jalopy, I may not make a move right now against this kind of a backdrop.
Certainly, and that's the risk of why Toyota could lose market share in the coming months. I mean, even for a company like Toyota, they only retain up to about 60% of their customers when they go to buy a new car. So they're constantly trying to win over new buyers. It's going to be difficult in an environment like this to do so.
Their peers out there aren't holding back. I mean, they're pulling out the big guns. Years of interest-free financing, thousands of dollars of rebates if you dump your Avalon or RAV4 or whatever at the local Hyundai or Ford dealer. Is that going to have a big impact? Is that going to be the swing factor for these buyers?
Not necessarily. What cars are you considering to begin with? And if it wasn't a Toyota, what might it be? I mean, the most cross-shopped with a Toyota is believed to be Honda. And what we've seen, at least according to TrueCar.com, is that Honda has captured about 25% of the conquest buyers, about equivalent to a Ford.
Yeah, you said, researcher Edmunds.com said that Toyota might lose 1 percentage point in terms of market share in the U.S. because of these recalls. Is 1 percentage point really that big of a deal?
It adds up. And beyond the market share concerns are pricing concerns. So if you've been selling for $1,000 more than the competitors, and suddenly to get back market share, you have to discount more, then you just get a pile-on effect from the pricing as well as the volume. So that's where the uncertainties lie, is the pricing environment, I think.
Kurt, how loyal are Toyota buyers? I got to tell you, years ago, my father looked at the Mercedes SUV, the M class. He took delivery of it, and he said, "This is a piece of junk. It's so cheap. The plastic is flimsy." And he gave up the $3,000 and went and got a Lexus instead. And he's driven Lexuses ever since then. He says he'll never drive anything else. Is he an anomaly, or do they feel that way? Do you get emotionally attached to a Toyota or a Lexus?
That's the thing, is if you've had 3 Toyotas in a row, you've had great success with them, and they give you a call and say, the brakes on your Prius might not feel like you want them to feel. That's not really going to scare you away from Toyota, is it? Whereas the difficulty is attracting new buyers in this environment. Again, if you're Toyota, 4 out of 10 of your people buying your cars are going to be new to the brand. So you have to, in a very negative environment, attract them into your showrooms and get them to buy a car. That might take more incentive to do the job, and that's where the pricing comes in.
Okay, well, speaking of pricing, Kurt, let's talk about your top pick in the auto sector in Japan, which is Honda. Now, Honda has had some recall issues of its own in recent days, with the overinflating airbags that may actually push through some metal shards. Concerns there for this company?
That, not to dismiss it, but that's a pretty bog standard recall. Those are 2002 model year vehicles. So if you're an owner of a 2002 product and they call you up and say, we want to put in a new airbag, you think, well, the car company's taking care of me. So I don't think that impacts their marketing position much. Just as far as Honda's position overall, they compete very directly with Toyota for buyers in the U.S. And across various models, Toyota and Honda are #1 and #2 in the market. So they do have an opportunity. What we've seen so far, according to TrueCar.com, is that Honda isn't chasing the volume, but it is benefiting from better pricing. You've seen GM, Ford, Hyundai come out with special incentives for for Toyota owners. Honda hasn't done that. So it might not be as buoyant on the volume side, but its pricing is improving.
Interesting. So they're kind of resisting the urge there. Final issue, Kurt, I'd like to throw your way. My family hasn't, if you'll indulge me for a second, my family hasn't owned an American car since a '74 Whale known as a Gran Torino from Ford. But
Good
you know,
movie.
if you look at the J.D. Powers, if you look at the Consumer Reports, Consumer Union write-ups, I mean, there's a certain homogeneity in the car space now. Ford Fusion gets really good results. I'm actually seeing more Fords on the roads of Hong Kong, if you can imagine that. Is the once perceived Toyota premium, has that come to an end, maybe?
Well, certainly the other automakers are doing a better job. Ford is one of the top gainers in the conquest buy so far because they have the product in the right spaces that people want to buy. So certainly the initial build quality has almost caught up. The studies for 3-year quality standards, they're still lagging, frankly. But you know, the perception is what's king here, and the perception is what could be damaged.
Kurt, appreciate your time. Kurt
Thank you.
Sanger from Deutsche Securities.